Stay. What is up? What is up, everybody? This is Dr. Andrew Kim, MD. Welcome to another episode of the Insomniacs Livestream, here hosted on my YouTube channel. Thank you for all of you subscribers out there. I really appreciate your support and for always, checking out my evergreen videos, for hopping onto these live streams with me late at night. We have a special episode today because, again, I expect that with New Year's Eve being tomorrow, our usual Insomniacs live stream on Tuesday and Saturday nights, that we'd probably have minimal viewerships because I'm sure everyone's going to want to be out partying, doing your thing, spending time with family, having a quiet night in on a New Year's Eve. So we moved it up one night to do our episode today. But typically we do Tuesdays and Saturday nights at 10:30 Central, 11:30 Eastern. That's when we typically do our live streams. But thank you for those who are checking in tonight on moved up in the week episode of our Insomniacs live stream tonight. So today we are going to keep it lighthearted. We've done some serious, heavy topics in some of our episodes, from friendship breakups, which we did last time. We talked about, the United Healthcare CEO shooting situation. We've done a lot of different things, but today we are going to talk about New Year's resolutions and goals for 2025. Can you believe that we're already at the end of another calendar year, about to hop into another new year? So look, we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions. We're going to talk a little bit about what your goals are going to be. I want to hear about them. So for those of you who are listening live, I want you to chime in throughout today's episode to tell me what are your New Year's resolutions and goals for 2025. We're going to talk a little bit about SMART goals and what SMART goals are to kind of help you with trying to do that. And, I'll share what my goals are. We'll hear what yours are. But as we're talking about this, I put up there in the graphic in the corner, I also want you to chime in throughout the chat, because later, after we talk about goals, which would be very brief, probably just 5 minutes, we're just going to do a look back on the year 2024. We're going to just kind of go through some of the major news cycle events, just kind of hear your thoughts. We'll try to do it rapid fire and just kind of keep it lighthearted, talking about celebrity moments, things of that nature. But throughout that look back, for those of you who are listening live, just share in the chat. I want to hear, what are your favorite memories of 2024? Just even your own personal memories, favorite movies that you saw for the first time, whether it was an actual new movie in 2024 that was released, or just a movie you finally got around to seeing. What were your favorite movies, your favorite TV shows, songs, albums, scandals that were in the news, or just anything in general? Because I'm going to tell you right now, guys, for those of you who have been following me for a while, I'm a workaholic. Oh God, all I do is work. So I am probably one of the least plugged into pop culture at this point in my life at age 42. Okay. So I'm also selfishly wanting to hear your favorite songs, albums, shows, movies, so that I can put some stuff on my to-do list entering 2025 to catch up on these things. Okay. What is up, Brian? What's up? What's going on? Has to be more than 5 people. No, I don't think there's a ton of people right now. So, live streams, these are late at night. I looked at my viewership. Most of my viewers tend to watch my videos between 2 to 6 p.m., but I'm working between 2 to 6 p.m. So I got to do these late night live streams or I'll never get around to doing these live streams. So that's why we call it the Insomniacs live stream. So Brian's going to kick it off for us. Brian Deshane, thank you for joining. Says best new series by far, but hasn't finished it. Landman. I keep hearing about Landman. Is it that good, Brian? It's not just hype. It is that intriguing. So you chime in. Tell me how hooked you are on that. So let's dive into it, guys. Let's get right into it. So first of all, let's kick it off by talking about New Year's resolutions. We'll be brief here, and we could dive into this very informal back and forth with the live viewers here. So as we embark on 2025, I want to hear what your New Year's goals are and New Year's resolutions. Maybe it's an ongoing goal that you're continuing from 2024 onwards. Fine. Doesn't have to be something revolutionary. Don't always have to recreate the wheel. Or maybe it is something new that you are motivated about, that you want to set as a goal for yourself moving forward. Okay. So look, as you set your goals, these are just a few basic principles. Some of you might have heard some of these things before. I even have a video that was posted maybe a couple years ago about resolutions, right? Number one, when you set these goals, I think it's really important. I really do. As corny as this is going to sound, is take some time very intentionally to think about your values, what, as you're kind of taking stock of your life right now, what is truly near and dear to your heart? What is your why, right? Why do you even bother waking up? Why do you even bother working so hard? Why do you bother standing up after life kicks you in the gut? What drives you to keep pushing forward? Get in touch with your values and say, where are there things that I want to be working on? What are the goals I want to be achieving that really resonate with me, right? And that's, I know I'm stating the obvious, but I think it's important to make sure you're setting goals that align with your value systems in order for you to really feel like it lines up, with your motivating factors for you to enhance the chances that you're actually going to work on this stuff, right? And look, I'm not saying that everything has to exactly align with your values. I'm just saying the likelihood that you'll stick with something will just be enhanced, right? Me saying, I'm just going to learn some niche random language for the heck of it, and I don't even know why, just because. Well, look, I mean, some people do follow through with that stuff, okay? But if you say, hey, I want to learn a language because, it's something I enjoy learning about things. It aligns with my value of curiosity. It's going to help me in business, and it opens up avenues for me to, enhance my business skills, expand my business. Being successful in this career path really resonates with me as a personal life goal. Again, look, you're saying the same thing. I want to learn a new language, but one resonates with your values. One's just kind of some random obscure whim, right? What's going to be more likely for you to follow through with? So that's what I mean by kind of align them with what you truly believe in, what really, has meaning for you. So I mentioned setting your goals as a SMART goal. And some of you may have heard of that frame, right? Heard of that phrase. So let's take a look. I'm going to flash it up here on the screen. SMART goals is an acronym. And, businesses use this concept, health coaches, life coaches, therapists. So you may have heard this before. But I really do think, as rudimentary as this sounds, many of us don't follow these basic tactics when we set our goals. So SMART stands for specific. The goals should be pretty specific, grounded in something that's significant to you, kind of that concept I just said. Measurable. The goal should have some objective way of measuring progress or achieving the goal, etc. So not just saying, hey, I just want to work out more in general, but I want to get to the gym X amount of times per month, if possible, right? Or more than I did in the last year on average, whatever it may be, but something that has some kind of measurable component. A is for achievable. The goal should be realistic and reasonable. And look, I don't think the people who kind of came up with this concept are saying, don't set your bar high. It's just, hey, look, if I said, hey, this year I want to save $1 trillion. You're probably setting yourself up for failure unless you are that one in, some infinitesimal, odds of hitting the lotto or something, or just, coming up with the next Microsoft, whatever, right? Versus saying, hey, like, I'm going to, save up 50 grand this year. I want to enhance my retirement savings for my family in my savings account. Last year I saved 10 grand. And this year I want to save 25, 35 grand versus saying, I want to become a trillionaire this year, right? So something that's based in reality, realistic, pushing yourself, but achievable. So you're not setting yourself up for frustration, for failure. R is for relevant. Again, the goal should relate to what you're hoping to accomplish, right? If you're setting a goal that doesn't align with, what you're trying to achieve in the big picture, then what's the point of setting that goal? And T is time bound. You should have an actual time frame that you want to reach this goal so that you can really track progress. So this is what SMART stands for. So when I say SMART goals, we're not talking about the intelligence level of the goal. It's an acronym for all of these properties: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. Okay. That's what SMART goals stand for. And it's a pretty basic tactic, but I think it's important. Now, a few more things, then we'll get to some of the comments here. Dennis, thanks for joining. Dennis is one of our regular listeners. As you set goals, please remember, right? And this was in one of my videos a while ago. There's a difference between setting rules and setting goals. Okay, rules are rather rigid. Rules set you up for all or nothing thinking. Rules set you up for a black and white, all or nothing mentality, and likely will lead to the first time or second time you slip up, you will enter a all or nothing mentality and say, well, there goes my goal. Screw it. I'm done. I'm going to wait till 2026 to set my next goal. Like, what? Come on. So as a concrete example, I know it's very popular and cliche, but it's like, I know everyone sets weight loss goals or workout goals for New Year's, but let's just roll with that since that's a popular, relatable topic, right? Rather than saying, I must hit the gym or work out 5 times a week, every week, all 52 weeks as a rule, which you know what I'm saying. That's, man, probably for 99% of people, that's going to be a setup for frustration. Right? The overall goal is I want to be healthy, right? That's what you're trying to achieve. I'm trying to achieve improved health. And my goal to achieve improved health might be working out and being active. And I want it to be measured by me getting to the gym. Maybe I'm going to say, look, I looked at last year in 2024 and I averaged going to the gym once a month, 0 times a month. My goal maybe for month 1 is trying to get to the gym once a week, right? Yeah, Andy, thank you for joining in. Andy's been on so many of our live streams. Andy Lee says, rules tend to be negative and focus on what you can't do. Absolutely. Saying this is, don't do this, don't do that, right? And Andy says, goals focus on the positive and what you can do. Absolutely. That's another way to think about it. Another take on how to think about rules versus goals. Absolutely. So don't get into that rigid mindset, right? Because by getting into that rigidity of rule setting and avoiding rule breaking, right? Like by not doing that, you're going to decrease the odds of getting into this all or nothing mindset. And last couple comments is, if let's say you're working on your goals and you set a SMART goal, maybe you didn't meet it by that time frame. Maybe you didn't live up to kind of the bar that you had set using a SMART goal. Please, again, don't fall into this all or nothing thinking. Show yourself some grace. Part of SMART goals are to reflect and say, okay, well, what were the obstacles that got in the way of me not being able to achieve that goal this time around in that specific time frame with that letter T in SMART, right? And then you learn from it, right? And you adapt, you adjust, you work on those obstacles, you work on the motivating factors, and you try again. Versus saying, well, didn't reach it by the end of January, screw the other 11 months, I'm going to wait till 2026. Makes no sense, right? Don't fall into that all or nothing mentality. Okay, so so we went over it, right? Starry, thank you, Starry, for joining us. Starry says, great point. Adaptability always gets us through with goals and work. Absolutely. Absolutely, Starry. So the whole point of SMART goals, right? It's about flexibility, adaptability, and a growth mindset versus rigidity, black and white thinking, and just frustrating the hell out of yourself, right? So let's get into sharing. Now it's sharing time, show and tell, everybody, right? So let's read off a few people. So to follow up on a few comments, Brian earlier said that for those of you who just joined, that's why I have that graphic up. I want you to just kind of blurt out things over the course of the chat today. We're going to keep it interactive and lighthearted for the most part. Share your favorite 2024 memories, movies, inspirational moments, TV shows, songs, albums, scandals, anything. And Brian was talking about Landman. For those of you who are listening, have any of you else seen Landman? I have not seen Landman. He says Taylor Sheridan is writing some great series and is responsible most of the best series I've seen in the last 3+ years. Anything by him is a winner. So I will have to put, because of Brian's enthusiasm for Landman and what I've heard about it from others too, I'll have to put that on my to-do list for 2025 to watch that. I was saying earlier, for those of you who joined a few minutes ago, I am so out of touch with pop culture stuff when it comes to TV shows, movies, songs. So that's what part of it is selfish. I'm asking you to throw them out there to give me some ideas of what I need to catch up on some entertainment stuff. But let's hear about your goals. So let's see. Dennis has been a regular listener. Dennis says, as one of my New Year's resolutions, I'm trying to be more organized and efficient, especially in terms of time management. So yeah, absolutely, Dennis. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Me too. I swear. I mean, my mind goes in so many different directions. You know, I get 80,000 ideas and I'm so restless. My wife comments to me, I'm restless all the time. I can't sit still. And sometimes I could channel it appropriately and to do it to channel it to, appropriate activities like these live streams and stuff to be productive. Other times I spin and go in so many different directions. So no, I know time management is definitely something I need to work on as well. So like I said, use the SMART goals, Dennis. If you haven't looked into it, Dennis, I would say, have you ever heard of the Pomodoro technique? Pomodoro. Something to take a look at. It's another, just like SMART goals, I could be pronouncing it wrong. The Pomodoro effect or technique is just basically a concept of choosing kind of priority tasks, setting a timer for 25 minutes, working on that task with devotion for those 25 minutes. When the timer sounds, take a 5-minute break, repeat that process 3 more times. Okay. Take a longer 30-minute break again, restart that process, right? So, and you can kind of tailor and customize that, but I know I probably didn't do it justice, but that's kind of the basic concept of using the Pomodoro technique. So whether it's that or another strategy, there's plenty of different ways that you can be tackling time management as you enter the year. For me personally, oh God, I say this every single year, guys. So I need to preach to myself, right? So when I'm talking about goals, it's not like I'm the master of following through my goals. Every year, I'm going to say, I'm working on my health. I'm working on my health, right? So, and I got to bring it back to the motivating factor. Why the hell do I even care about trying to work on my health? For me, it's important, right? I mean, I'm 42. I don't know how old you guys are out there. I'm 42, but I feel so run down and beat down at times with work. I mean, I'm easily putting in 60 hours a week doing work, right? When you include even things I'm doing, after hours and emails, etc. And I just feel run down. I'm definitely not eating the healthiest I can be, eating out a little too much. Definitely not eating clean. So, and in addition to that, I think in 2024, I could probably count on these 2 hands how many times I've worked out. Maybe even 1 hand, but definitely less than these 2 hands, right? So I'm probably averaging working out with some moderate to intense exercise less than once a month, probably sometimes 0 times a month. So I really do think it's maybe on one hand. So, and I definitely feel like I don't have the energy of someone who's 42. I probably have the energy of someone who's many years older than that. So, and I have a 9-year-old son. So he's got a lot of energy. He's got the gift of gab, you know, he's bouncing around, wants to do things. And oh my gosh, I feel so terrible. I feel so terrible as a father that I can keep up for an hour at best. And then I'm wiped until, it's bedtime, right? So I got to do it, right? I mean, for the sake of my health, literally to be healthy so that I can live, hopefully, a long and healthy life, to be there as a husband, as a father, not just to be there, time wise, but to be present, right? And to participate and be an active participant in my son's life as he's got a lot of energy, so that I have more energy to work on other goals, right? These are kind of Venn diagram things, right? So, it does kind of come back to that concept of what I said, like what's important to you, what are your motivating factors? And for me, yeah, family, health, being present for my family, corny as that sounds, I mean, those are things that I want to be working on. So for me, I haven't quite set it yet. So, I'm talking about SMART goals to you guys. I haven't quite set out my SMART goal plan, but I am going to be working on it over the next day or so, brainstorming. I think one of the things I'm going to try to do, Andy says, I can count on one hand the number of times I worked out in 2024, assuming that hand is missing all its fingers. So Starry says 42 and feel the same. We're all out here up late. I swear this has become a little club for us on these live streams. So I really appreciate you guys joining. So makes me feel better too. So I don't know about you, but peak of the pandemic, I know it's pricey, but my wife and I, we got a Peloton bike. My wife, she's actually, I will say, she's good. She actually got pretty good use out of it. Still seems to use it, periodically. I used it for a solid maybe 2 months, maybe 3. That could be a stretch. And I haven't sat on that thing in so long. And for me, at least personally, that thing is collecting dust. And so it's right there. I mean, it's like 50 feet from me. So at least in my head, I'm thinking I might use that maybe not the whole year, but I'm going to maybe use that as like a catalyst, maybe just for January, as a way to get my butt. If I can't walk 50 feet over there, put on some of those biking shoes and hop on to a seat and just move my legs a little bit. Right? I mean, so my hunch is, at least for the first month, I'm going to be hopping onto that Peloton, give it a go, see how it goes. If any of you have Peloton accounts, especially for you regular listeners who are on here twice a week, maybe you guys can help me stay accountable. Okay, so in the chat here, let me put in the chat my Peloton username. So for any of you with a Peloton account, I see, I haven't even used it in so long. I think you can kind of friend each other or follow each other or something. So hit me up on there. Starting this week, maybe even tomorrow, right? Maybe I shouldn't even wait until January 1st. Maybe tomorrow. Let's get a head start on 2025. Hit me up on there. I'm going to say right now, we're impromptu saying that's going to be one of my goals, is at least minimum for the month of January. I'm going to hop on that damn thing. And I'm going to somehow incorporate that into my SMART goals, guys. Okay. All right. So moving on from the goals. And like I said, keep those goals coming for those of you who are live or those of you hearing this on recording. Just put it in the comments or the chat. Doesn't matter. So before we do the look back on some of the big news events over the year 2024, I think it's also important, right? Before we look ahead to 2025, reflection's important. Reflection, right? What are you grateful for? So everybody pause. If you haven't done it yet, I see there's several people still on the live stream here. For those of you who are listening, even if you take the next 30 seconds as I'm blabbing, what are you grateful for in 2024? What are you grateful for today? I think it's important. It's important to stop, pause, take a breath, and reflect on that, right? Because trust me, I'm the same way. Me, you, everyone, society has trained us to be go, 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 go. We promote multitasking. We promote being hit up with alerts, badge icons, buzzing, vibrations, pop ups, banner ads, banner notifications, blah, 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 blah. It takes us out of the moment and it wants us to go check that one thing, that other thing, open that app, check out your email, check out your message, check out the alert, check out the new sale, check out the discount, check out the new drop for this item. It takes us out of the moment. We have been conditioned now to look instantaneously for instant gratification at the next cool thing, the next new thing, the next dopamine rush. That it takes us out of this mindset of mindfulness, gratefulness, and appreciation. So pause, reflect now or later when this live stream is done. What are you grateful for as a small group here? What are you grateful for? Is it health? Is it family? Was it a memorable moment? Is it just about hope for the future? What are you grateful for? I'll start some of the cheesiness here. Gratefulness, because gratefulness is part of well-being, psychological well-being, spiritual well-being, and that does rub off on your physical health, in my opinion. Okay, they've done studies that show those who have and can practice reflecting on gratefulness, it seems to have a positive impact on health. It's a very global statement, and it seems like studies have continue to replicate that. So it's not just about corniness or cheesiness, it is about putting yourself in the mindset of having gratefulness and appreciation to impact your health in a positive way. So, look, I am grateful for the fact that I have still been able to have memories, with certain family members of mine. My grandfather, my maternal grandfather on my mother's side, he just recently turned 90 years old. 90, the big 90. Right now, he is in a nursing facility or nursing home. It's tough to see. It really is. It really is, because this man came from Korea, fleeing from, chaos of the Korean War, basically lost everything, came to the US, was working in construction, working as a mechanic, through hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, raised his 3 kids, my mom, uncle, aunt, made sure they got a good education. He and my grandmother were both, involved in my life. I was very fortunate. We had a very young family, very young family. My mom had me around, I believe, age 21 or so. So she had me when, she was pretty young. But as a result of that, I got to know my grandmother and I got to know my great-grandmother. My great-grandmother actually raised me for several years. So it's crazy to say that out loud, but I basically had a mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother who had a direct involvement in raising me up in my childhood. And as a result, I got to also get to know my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, pretty well. And, he was, like I said, he worked blue collar in construction as a mechanic. And he really took pride in physical fitness. Talking about fitness, he puts me to shame, right? I mean, all the way up until, honestly, guys, all the way up until even into his 70s, early 70s at the very least. He was at the local, gym, like running, jogging laps. So he was very big on running, jogging, swimming, doing some resistance weight training. He's very physically fit. And that's kind of always what I remember about him, is that, he's such a hard worker, tough guy, gave it everything he had throughout his life. And it's tough. It's tough seeing him. He's had a couple of small strokes. He's at the point right now where his cognition is not there. He's having some delusional thoughts requiring some medications. He's definitely not that physical specimen that he used to be. Very short, small, shuffling steps, hard to even make it to the bathroom on time. It's tough. It's very tough, but at the same time grateful. I saw him as recently as last week and got a chance to bring him some baked goods from a local Korean bakery. I was very glad to see him scarf up his food. It's crazy how life comes full circle, right? Back in the day when I'm a kid, in Korean culture, it's all about feeding everybody, making sure they're well fed, they're well nourished, right? Food is kind of a love language, right? Eat more, right? Have seconds. So, they used to stuff me, make sure I was well fed. It put a smile on my face, when he finished his dinner that evening. I brought him some of those, baked goods, like soft little Asian cheesecake type, treat, and he scarfed it up. He got a smile on his face, put him in a good mood, and I'm just small little gestures, right? I mean, not the same as all the sacrifices he did for my parents and my mom's siblings, but helping me out when I was his grandkid growing up. But just these small moments where I still get to spend some time, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful. It's hard seeing that, but at the same time, grateful. So as I reflect back on 2024, not sure how much time I'm going to have left with him in my life and our family's life, but I want to cherish those moments, and I'm grateful that I was able to still create some memories with him even in 2024, and looks like at least for the early part of 2025 we'll be able to do that. So Starry chimes in, I love those significant times. I like to call it a little bit of heaven on earth when we experience that love. Yeah, absolutely. And look, I'm getting teary-eyed here, Starry. So it's definitely no. I'm cheesy, and I'm with you there. So it's at the end of the day, I'm under my cynicism, under the jadedness that healthcare has created within me. At the core of it, I'm still a hopeless romantic, and cheesy things still get to me. So no, I'm totally with you there, Starry. I really am. So what else? What are you guys grateful for? So keep chiming in about what you're grateful for. And now let's look back on 2024. And I'm not going to even try to reinvent the wheel. I'm going to go through ABC recently did a 2-hour special, kind of a look back on 2024. So I'm just going to kind of scroll through, and I'm just going to pick and choose a few things to read. And they kind of broke it down, the look back, into different topics like major news stories, pop culture events, sporting events, big, just global events. So we're just going to read through a few things, and we're going to do it rapid fire. We won't belabor these things. Not going to turn all these things into a single episode, but just in the chat, throw out your comments as we read this. We're going to start off with corny. So looking back on 2024, cultural obsessions in the United States, and basically not just ABC. I mean, a lot of these news outlets, funny, they almost dub this, right, kind of the year of Taylor Swift. So I know some it's a very divisive and polarizing thing. Some people, the Swifties, love and adore and are obsessed with Taylor Swift, and other people almost have a gag reflex and almost vomit and are so sick of hearing about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce from the Kansas City Chiefs. So Taylor Swift released that new album, Tortured Poets Society or Department? I could be mixing that up. Won some Grammys. Apparently her tour grossed, literally it said grossed billions. Oh my gosh, not just billions. So for those of you who are listening live, for those of you who are listening to this as a recording later on, Are you a Swiftie? Are you a Taylor Swift fan? Is the obsession, the cultural obsession that Swifties have, is this justified? I mean, listening to Taylor Swift, is that your jam? Or are you so over it and you're done with the romance with Taylor Swift? You're sick of seeing Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift frolicking around and social media ogling over their every move. Where do you fall on the polarizing spectrum of Taylor Swift, whether it's Taylor Swift as an artist, Taylor Swift with the paparazzi and the coverage? Taylor Swift, what do you got? I'll say, I know that like I said, I don't know all of the songs from that recent album, but I've definitely liked Taylor Swift songs here and there. Definitely, I've no shame in saying that. There's some catchy songs. There's some I tend to like more of the like acousticy country-ish type of songs, and definitely she's had a whole slew of those from older albums. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to sit down and listen to that most recent album by any means. But Taylor Swift obviously was a huge cultural symbol, icon, celebrity over the year of 2024. I guess we're gonna have to see if does that carry over into the year 2025, right? So other moments, right? Obviously, politics was a huge one. Politics, right? We won't get into the divisiveness of people name calling back and forth on the right versus the left, but it when you think about it, right? Snick says she is a good person, and we need good people in the world. We absolutely do, Snicks. Thanks for joining us, Snicks. Absolutely, we need good people in the world. We need positive influences. So politics was a crazy year, right? I mean, everything from kind of the geopolitical climate to the presidential election, the divisiveness that was here in our country. I don't know that many people are going to forget 2024, at least for the near future, because it was kind of crazy. I mean, think about it right now, guys. We're here drinking coffee, having the luxury of hopping onto a live stream on YouTube to chit chat, pass the time together, have some laughs, have some entertainment to pass the time. And right now, I mean, there is literally war and fighting going on with Israel, the Palestinians. There's war in Ukraine with Russia. Russia has hired literally a mercenary army of North Korean soldiers in the five figures, 20, 30,000 of them fighting Ukrainian soldiers right now. There's tension with Iran. It's insane, right? And it's so hard. We take for granted sometimes in this country. We turn on ABC, NBC, CNN, Fox, and we hear how horrible things are in the US and how terrible our country is. And if we take a step back, I mean, there is literally war, bombs going on, shootings happening, buildings being decimated right now across the country as we speak. I mean, sometimes it's hard, right? I mean, we lose perspective of what's going on in the world. Some of us do, some of us, I shouldn't assume, because some of us do keep that perspective, but I would say a lot of us, right? When it's not in our backyards, it's not in our front yards, it's crazy. I mean, but that's what's going on in the world around us right now, right? Again, not to sound cynical or to be a downer, but that's kind of what's happening, right? And then obviously we had a very heated election, right? The extreme left, the extreme right, going back and forth, name calling, gaslighting, being divisive. My hope is that moving forward, that if anything comes out from the heated divide of this most recent election in 2024, is that can we figure out a way to be a little bit more centrist to some degree, right? I'm not saying you need to compromise your values, but centrist in the sense of, can we have conversations with each other? Whether you're on the right, you're on the left, you're moderate left, moderate right, can we have conversations, right? I mean, the one thing that I took away from 2024 is how much we as a society just try to yell over each other, talk over each other. I'm not even saying that you're going to be able to convince one person to agree with you, convince them to switch sides. It's just can we have conversations? We may not even switch our point of view, switch sides of the aisles on the political spectrum, but is there a way we can work together and figure out solutions? I don't think that's unrealistic. How can we move towards that? But again, unforgettable, right? Unforgettable year. There were assassination attempts on Donald Trump, one of the most heated, divisive elections in our nation's history. From a political standpoint, a lot was going on in 2024. A lot was going on around the world outside the US, right? In the world of sports in 2024, a lot of groundbreaking things, right? We had the 2024 Paris Olympics. We got to see, at least from obviously we're biased because we're from the United States, but we had Katie Ledecky becoming the most successful female Olympian in US history. I don't, I'm not a diehard swimming fan, but watching Katie Ledecky swim, I remember I was so into that. I was like, when is Katie Ledecky swimming into the next event? Just rooting for her almost on pins and needles. Like, I hope she can do it. Like, she's so dominant, yet, this is maybe the tail end of kind of her swimming career. Is she going to do it? It was crazy watching her, seeing Simone Biles bounce back from, pulling out from the all around at the previous Olympics, launching a comeback. Just look, that's watching that, right? Watching that is kind of like the epitome of resiliency, right? I think a lot of people assumed, oh, broke under pressure, bowed out, couldn't handle the spotlight, was too much for her. Even after all the achievements she already had last time, to bounce back after that, to come back. What a great story, right? What a great story. Got to witness Caitlin Clark. When was the last time that you had so many eyeballs, so much media attention, so many fans, new fans that were drawn to collegiate sports? When Caitlin Clark was out there breaking records on Iowa's women's basketball team, going to the WNBA, at first people saying she's a flop, and then becoming pretty damn good rookie in the WNBA. So even in the world of sports, monumental things happened, right? Memorable things for those of you who are diehard sports fans. Right now, we're entering 2025, and God, can you believe, right? Patrick Mahomes is still being Patrick Mahomes for the Kansas City Chiefs, right? So, he's not even done with his career, and he's already been deemed, baby GOAT, right? So, we'll see what happens with the Super Bowl that's coming up. But, a lot was going on in sports. And then in the realm of technology, right? AI. It was a big year for AI, right? I think in 2023, it was a lot of fear mongering about AI. We said, AI is going to be the end of humanity. AI is going to be like Skynet from the Terminator series. They're going to take over the world. Now look at what happened in 2024 with AI. Now we have ChatGPT. We have all these variations of ChatGPT. You have it in the palm of your hand on your cell phone, right? Now we have Meta integrating powerful AI. We have Microsoft Copilot. All these different major companies are now integrating AI. Even workplaces are integrating AI chatbots, AI software to streamline, workflows. So, and this is probably just the beginning. I think this is really kind of this inflection point and this catalyst of AI and artificial intelligence really taking hold in kind of our day-to-day interactions. It was this kind of abstract concept before in 2023, 2022, and now it's literally things that we're using on a day-to-day basis. I'm even using generative AI for, creating thumbnails and images and all these different things for social media content. So it's crazy. So what are your thoughts on artificial intelligence for those of you who are here? Is when you think about the concept of AI, whether it's AI being utilized and leveraged in healthcare, in industry, in your workplace right now, in just your day-to-day life with, your phone and web use. Does AI concern you? Do you feel like AI is an amazing tool that's going to help advance various aspects of society? What's your take? Because I even artificial intelligence right now is still somewhat of a controversial topic, a very divisive topic. But um, Starry says, yes, people even had major issue with AI used in dictation. I tried to explain to people how it's different from other AI, but gave up. Andy says AI is a blessing and a curse. No, yeah, like I said, it raises concerns. It definitely can be leverage and can be a gift. Snicks says, hate it. It took my job. Oh, geez, I'm sorry to hear this. What did AI do to, like, how was AI being leveraged to screw you out of a job? What happened? I mean, you don't have to share if you don't want to, but I'm just curious because, we do hear that, right? We do hear about the concerns about artificial intelligence on one hand for a company improving efficiency, but then obviously at the risk maybe of taking jobs at times, or making leadership of companies say we don't need certain positions because AI can handle it, right? So I'm sorry to hear that, Snakes. I really am. So obviously, like I said, like Andy's saying, like others are saying out there, AI. Let's see, Starry says, we are training AI programs used in healthcare. It does raise a concern about the lack of conscience. Huh? No, that's great. Yeah, AI in healthcare, it is very intriguing, right? I mean, on one hand, I don't doubt, and I don't think there's necessarily something wrong with AI being leveraged to kind of handle, customer service issues, maybe entry level concerns, to kind of almost triage at a hospital, etc., before hooking you up to a human. So I definitely think there's ways to improve efficiencies. Um, but yeah, once you get into the domain of, clinical interventions, it could get a little dicey. I know right now, again, it's kind of like Andy said, a blessing and a curse. We even have AI robots in. Whoa. Oh, my bad. We had something playing from a web browser there. Sorry for the interruption there. So, but as Starry was saying, as I was saying, like, we even have right now surgical robots, like AI software driven surgical robots that are even learning through, very advanced camera systems that are watching surgeons perform certain surgeries, even watching catalogs of learning videos and then learning about, even learning about, how to perform certain procedures from educational video material to integrate into its like catalog, to then assist surgeons in surgery, or even for minor procedures, be trained at some point to perform some very, I guess, basic or minor surgical interventions, which raises concerns, kind of like more in your realm, Starry, right? So that's kind of more akin to what you're talking to, but more so in the surgical realm. Would that freak you out, right? What if you were a patient who said, hey, I have this minor suture repair for a superficial laceration, and they say, hey, our AI trained robot is going to take care of your minor suture repair for stitches. We'll get that sewed up for you. Our surgeons, our human ones, are more for the more nuanced surgeries, complex high risk surgeries. We're going to have our robot take care of you. Would you? Again, that's still a bit a ways off in my opinion, but essentially that's kind of what they're piloting and testing out, right? Would you trust an AI driven, surgical robot to do some minor surgical repair for you, suture up a wound at the end of a surgery, you sign a consent form and it says the human surgeon will do 95% of the surgery, but when we're closing up your wound, it's a very basic procedure. We don't need to tie it. We're going to free up the surgeon to then go work on the more complex parts of another surgery. And we're going to have our robot methodically suture you up. Would you consent to that? Right. So it's going to be fascinating as these AI programs mature and get to the point where they could theoretically do even some of these surgical type of interventions. So kind of like what Starry's saying, that sounds like some of what Starry's working on is working on some clinical interventions. And even in my realm, in the field of psychiatry, they're already looking at AI, to see, can they do basic counseling triage, kind of like you're saying. What I think would be pretty cool, and I know I'm going on a tangent now. We'll get back on track with the 2024 look back in a minute. There's got to be a way. There's got to be a way where we can, like, there are already people who are using virtual reality for trauma-focused therapies, right? I mean, I mean, this is already, that concept itself is not novel. Even as long as 10 years ago, at the hospital I was working at, they were already piloting, almost like using those MetaQuest goggles, and they were doing virtual reality-based exposure therapy for trauma and PTSD, right? They were having some combat veterans with trauma and PTSD loading in simulations to mimic virtual reality-based scenarios that would evoke that trauma response, but have the therapist kind of work through that trauma response in a safe setting as they were trying to evoke that, mimicking maybe trauma events that were their index traumas. At this point, it was very rudimentary and clunky back then, but at this point with generative AI, right, if patients were able to describe events, maybe even upload images of people and certain places, I mean, think about that, right? I mean, could we now enhance virtual reality generative AI scenarios to make exposure therapy that much more immersive, evoke that much more of that, trauma response to then work through that, in therapy? I mean, there are so many possibilities of how, kind of like what Andy was saying, blessing and a curse, right? There are obviously concerning ethical things that come up with AI. But there's definitely ways where we might be able to leverage this to our advantage and even enhance therapy interventions, right? So it'll be fascinating. It'll be fascinating because this is just the tip of the iceberg, and we'll see in 2025 how much further AI gets to, right? So going back to 2024 and a look back, I mean, look, I know we talked about geopolitical tensions, divisiveness in politics, but there is also reason for hope, right? Not even with something like divisive as AI. I mean, there are breakthroughs in healthcare. I mean, one of the craziest things, I read about was a collaborative research endeavor by Mass General Hospital in Boston. Their eye and ear specialists at MGH eye and ear. They collaborated with an academic group in China. And look, there's numerous causes. It's a multifactorial thing to have congenital, loss of hearing or being born deaf. But for one particular subtype, particular subtype, it's not loses. Right now it's not on in my memory the exact subtype name, but there is one particular subtype of lack of hearing due to protein deficiency, where again very early stages, but they were able to manipulate gene therapy and literally with an injection, utilizing gene therapy in both ears of, very, very young children who are born with that, to reverse their congenital loss of hearing, where those individuals were able to now distinguish sounds, even locate the source of where that sound was coming from, even in a noisy environment. accelerating language development. Very promising. I mean, insane stuff. So, as you do a look back on 2024, I only bring that up to just bring it up as a concrete example of not to just reflect on the craziness and the chaos and the United Healthcare shootings and the wars and the tensions, but to also reflect on some of the signs of hope that, like Snicks is saying, there are good people out there, and there are people that are trying to help humanity, help society, make a difference in people's life, whether these are volunteers at your local charity, at your advocacy groups, healthcare providers, teachers who are helping students, family members helping family members, whatever it may be. There's goodness out there, right? And it's important for us to seek out and recognize the goodness that still exists in the midst of all the chaos that's happening and all the bad news we get bombarded with on television and social media, right? So, there's plenty of good to reflect on when it comes to 2024, right? So, look, what else, guys? Rapid fire time. Last few minutes here before we wrap up to let you guys get to bed and relax. You got to give me some more, guys. We got Landman, right? So what are your other favorite memories, shows, news events, huge events of 2024, things that you're grateful for? Give me something, right? Movies, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm at a loss. I didn't really watch too many movies in 2024. Okay, I didn't see Gladiator 2. I still haven't seen Wicked. I did see Dune 2. I know people are going to murder me for this, but I'm like, I kind of like Dune 1 a little bit better. I don't know. And I like sci-fi too. I'm very big on sci-fi, action, horror, but I don't know. Dune 2 didn't really move the needle for me. And I know most people are going to say, "Oh my, what's wrong with you?" It's just, to each their own. Lioness. Oh, snakes. Oh, yes. That is one of the few things. Lioness season 1, especially. I haven't finished season 2, so don't ruin that for me. But for those of you, I'm on board with Snicks right here. Lioness was one of my favorite shows. So that is one I did watch. I got some weird promo deal where I was able to get Paramount for free for like a month, and I tried my best to binge watch and make the most of that free 1-month trial. And I did plow through all of season 1. Man, season 1 of Lioness was like, that was so well written, and Zoe Saldana did such a great job of playing it. So for those of you who are into kind of, counterterrorism, spy, it was kind of like, what is it? I would say like Homeland-esque. They're not quite the same, but like it had similar vibes. Like I was almost as excited for this when I finished season 1 as I was when I first saw Homeland way back in the day, right? So, Lioness was so good. I still haven't finished season 2. What do you, Snicks? Did you? I don't even know if season 2 is done, but are you through season 2? And is it? Do you feel like it's as good as season 1? What's your take on the season 2 on how good or not so good it is compared to season 1? But for those of you who haven't seen Lioness, with Zoe Saldana, I would say that is pretty good. I was very intrigued by that show. So that I need to finish season 2. Another one at least that I can comment on. I'm partway through 4 episodes is the second season of Squid Games on Netflix. I will say, with kind of the novelty and how big Squid Games the first season was, I had my doubts. When something is that hyped up and had, that much, excitement, I almost worry that like a follow-up season's just bound to be a letdown. But so far, right, I'm gonna hold my breath and cross my fingers. I'm not gonna shoot myself in the foot for saying this, but I'm about 4 episodes deep into the kind of the recent release of Squid Games, and I don't think like all 7 episodes is the entirety of the season. My wife is saying that there's supposed to be more episodes, but I'm actually liking. I'm surprised that it's as intriguing as I thought. So we'll see if I still feel that way once I'm done. Um, but yeah, but Squid Games, that's the new season that just released on Netflix so far has been intriguing for me. So I'm kind of into it. I'm after this, even though I should go to sleep, I'm probably gonna watch an episode. So I'm not gonna lie here. Um, so well, yeah, Snicks. If you can't, I'd say at minimum first season is definitely intriguing. I would say okay. Um, but those are shows. Yeah, movies. I haven't. Has anyone seen Wicked? Has anyone seen Gladiator 2? What other big movies were out there? I mean, I know it wasn't released in 2024, but I know Oppenheimer won the big award with the Academy Awards. I haven't even seen Oppenheimer. I mean, that's how behind I am on movies. Has anyone seen Oppenheimer? Has anyone seen Wicked? Has anyone seen Gladiator 2? Am I missing out by not watching any of those, or are those definitely worthwhile? And what other movies are there? Right? What other songs and albums are out there? I'm so obtuse to songs and music, probably more than movies and shows at this time. But what has been your go-to song, go-to album of 2024? Guys, you guys got to give me some music. I haven't. I just for the for the first. I don't even know how long the song's been out. I think it was last week because of my nieces and my nephews. My nieces and nephews range from age, what is it, 7 or so till about age 11ish. I think for the first time I finally heard that Bruno Mars Lady Gaga song, that duet that they have. I haven't even heard that all year long. I don't even know how long that's been out. And I mean, that's how behind I am on music. So music, I'm hopeless. I can't even give you anecdotes like I did for Squid Games or Lioness. So Snick says, I have Oppenheimer is good. It's on Peacock. Oh, I got to go watch. Yeah, Oppenheimer was really good. Okay, so I got 2 votes here. Andy and Snick say Oppenheimer was really good. So I got to go watch Oppenheimer then. Jesse Wells for music. This is how stupid I am, Snakes. I have no clue who Jesse Wells is. What genre is Jesse Wells? I'm so bad. The the last concert or live performance I even ever saw was the Backstreet Boys Vegas residency show with my wife, and it was very nostalgic. I don't think they're doing it anymore at this point, but it was like 2 years ago, I think we caught them. I mean, that's the extent of my music knowledge. I'm still stuck in the 90s, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, the that was my peak listening to 98 Degrees, for those of you who know what I'm talking about. Cheesy boy band 90s music. That's the height of my music knowledge right there. So shows you how old I am. Gotta binge Jesse Wells indie. Okay, I will right now. Getting my pen so I don't forget. I'm writing it down. On YouTube? Okay, so Jesse Wells on YouTube. Okay. I will go give that a listen while I'm off of work tomorrow. Starry says more of a reader, stuck in the 90s too. What? So Starry, okay. So Starry, I didn't list book up there. Give me a book. What was one of the most memorable books you read then over the past year? I was so lame. I think the only 2 books I read in 2024 was I didn't even finish them, but a couple books that my friend gave me on financial planning and financial wellness. That's oh my gosh, that's the only thing I've read. So give me a book before you wrap up here, Starry. So Starry says Snick's the best also. So yeah, 90s rock. Okay. So Jesse Wells for music is something I got to do. So I appreciate that. Snicks. Andy and Snicks also says Oppenheimer. So Oppenheimer is on my to-do list. Jesse Wells is on my to-do list. And Starry says Engulfed in Flames. David Sedaris. Okay. All right. Well, we're almost at the hour mark. Last minute, very quickly. We still got, we got not a bad, we got eight people here. So rapid fire, guys. What are your New Year's Eve's plan for tomorrow? You going out and partying? Quiet night in? Family time? Alone time? What are you doing? Real quick in the chat. Let's read it. Let's read it in the chat. It's been years since I went to the city of Chicago for like an actual New Year's Eve party. It was at the Hilton Palmer House, downtown Chicago. This was in the early stages when my wife and I had like first been together. None since then. we are past that point in our lives. We're both homebodies. I am an extroverted introvert. So I got social skills. I can socially network. I don't mind mingling, but I'm an introvert at heart. So we are having a quiet night in tomorrow. Probably just going to watch some live performances and music on TV, on NBC, ABC, whatever it is. Just catch some live performances. Probably just try to order in, have some good food. I went to Target of all places. They had these like confetti poppers that you twist in these tubes. My son and I were probably going to pop some confetti, vacuum it up afterwards. I promised we would clean it up. Promised my wife. Quiet night in for us. So let's see. Snick says, quiet night in, relaxing. Andy says, chilling with my dogs at home with some DoorDash. Yes, with some DoorDash. Absolutely. Don't drive. Careful, everyone. Don't drive late at night tomorrow if you can help it, with all the drinking and driving that's going to be happening. So please be safe if you're going to be on the road. So quiet night in for Snicks, chilling with the dog, some DoorDash for Andy. Sounds like I'm having a quiet night in with my wife and kid, watching some TV, relaxing, probably ordering some food as well. So Starry, if you're still there, hope you're going to have some fun, whether you're going out, whether you're going to be in at night. But thank you again, guys. So again, as a reminder for those of you who are tuning in right now live, those of you who are seeing this recorded, Starry says, I'll be home by 9 p.m. in true 42-year-olds. Starry, you and me, 42, the 42-year-olds. There we go. We're kindred spirits in that sense. We are the 42-year-olds. And yeah, it's going to be hard for me to make it to midnight probably, but I'll probably do it just like we're doing right now. But so as a reminder, though, because of that, guys, I hope you guys have a safe New Year's. We're not going to be doing our usual Tuesday night tomorrow. So really, all of you, enjoy the quiet time. Sounds like a lot of us are having quiet time with you and your loved ones, or you on your own. Eat some good food, reflect on some gratefulness, and think about some of those goals for 2025. Please have a happy and a safe New Year's Eve, and let me be the first to wish you a very early New Year's, everybody. Thank you again for tuning in. Thank you for the lively chat, everybody. Stay tuned, and we'll have our next episode this Saturday night at our usual time, Saturday, 10:30 Central, 11:30 Eastern. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you joining in, and I'm not going to forget Jesse Wells on YouTube, Oppenheimer for the movie, and I will check out what Engulfed in Flames is for the book. So Happy New Year to you too, Andy. Happy New Year to Andy, Starry, Snicks, to who else would join earlier on? I gotta say, to Brian, who commented about Landman, the TV show, and to Dennis, one of our other regular listeners. See you guys. Have a safe and happy New Year's. Enjoy tomorrow night. See you guys on Saturday. Peace out, everybody.